Congratulations to the worldwide participants of the Conference of Hope. Thank you to the Washington Times Foundation and Think Tank 2022 for hosting this conference on the challenges to religious freedom from communism. I also want to thank Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon, the co-founder of the Universal Peace Foundation, for her work for peace and for co-founding the Washington Times, one of the world's most influential news organizations. The Washington Times promotes the fundamental values of freedom, family, and faith, which challenges God-denying communist ideology. I was present when Senator Orrin Hatch introduced Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon here in Washington, D.C. Now, the Rally of Hope organized by the Universal Peace Federation draws more than 1 million participants from around the world and offers a powerful force to aid the global fight against oppression, poverty, and racial discrimination. I know President Trump spoke to you in 2021. Dr. Moon inspired the advisors to the president to make personal contact with the leader of North Korea. Trump held 3 meetings with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and to strike a deal in which Kim would give up all his nuclear weapons in exchange for massive economic aid and investment. China opposed this deal because China fears a reunified Korea that would align with the United States and slow down or even block China's long-term 100-year marathon strategy. But we cannot give up on unification someday, in which a newly united Korea will also be a Christian nation. The Abraham Accords show us that distrust can be overcome. Now, I want to address these 4 questions. Why does China oppose Korean unification? Why does China oppose the Unification Church? Why does China oppose Prime Minister Abe's anti-communist supporters? And why does China persecute Chinese Christians? No one would have imagined the successful Trump meetings way back 30 years ago in 1991, when Reverend Moon first met with Kim Il-sung, then the North Korean president, to discuss ways to achieve a peace on the Korean Peninsula, as well as on international relations and tourism. In 1992, Kim Il-sung gave his first and only interview with the Western news media to the Washington Times reporter Josette Shirin. In 2012, Moon was posthumously awarded North Korea's National Reunification Prize. On the first anniversary of Reverend Moon's death, North Korean Chairman Kim Jong-un expressed condolences to his family, saying Kim Jong-un played for the repose of Moon, worked hard for national concord, prosperity, and reunification, and world peace. Last August, Kim Jong-un again sent condolences via the North Korean Peace Advisory Committee. The 10th anniversary of his passing, he again provided condolences and respect to Madame Han. China has opposed and fears Korean reunification. China's own approach has been to persecute anything foreign about Christianity and to oppose the Unification Church, even calling it an evil cult. The Chinese have a 5-year plan to change the Chinese-style Christianity. They're rewriting the Bible according to this 5-year plan. One example is an egregious affront to the Bible the Christians hold sacred. They've revealed they have a crusade to sinify or Chineseify Christianity. It's in a regulation of religious affairs that was released in 2018. It's part of China's national strategy to replace America as the world leader. According to recent reports, the Chinese authorities have altered Chinese textbooks. The famous biblical verse in which Jesus forgives a woman who commits adultery has been rewritten so that Jesus himself stones her to death. In school, Chinese children are taught that religion is a superstition. They remove party members for participating in religious activities. Christianity is not exempt from the long arm of Chinese authorities. Churches that operate outside government approval, termed house churches, have been closed and even defaced. The CCP is determined to prevent external influence, foreign influence, from escaping any government control. Of the 5 poisons China says are dangerous to national unity, 3 are religious groups. Some estimate that there's been a dramatic growth of the Christian population in China to nearly 100 million in spite of this repression. Foreign influence, they are afraid, is going to lead to the overthrow of the Communist Party from within. A Christian unified Korea adds to this nightmare for the Chinese Communist Party. Now, our government continues to call for the release of religious prisoners. We need to strengthen sanctions and hold perpetrators of persecution to account. One way to do this is the Magnitsky sanctions for violations of freedom in China, as listed in the Department of State's Freedom of Religion report. Now let me say a few words about Chinese strategy. Xi Jinping wants to exploit Abe's tragic assassination, July 8th, and demonize his allies, including the Unification Church and the Liberal Democratic Party Abe faction. Speaker Newt Gingrich has pointed out in a Washington Times op-ed that the chairman of the Japanese Communist Party has revealed their plan in an interview. Communist Party Chairman Xi said openly, the starting point in the history of this was an anti-communist organization that was united with the Unification Church. They called this a half-century of historical collusion between the two organizations. It's obvious to me why China also wants to undermine the memory of Abe. Abe was the most anti-Chinese Communist Party prime minister in Japanese history. The Japanese Communist Party not only attacks the Abe wing of the LDP, but also the work of the Unification Church in Japan and around the world. China attacks the Unification Church at the same time it attacks everything Abe worked for. In my book, The 100-Year Marathon, which was a bestseller in the US, Japan, and Korea, and throughout the world, I revealed from internal Chinese documents their plan to replace the United States as the global superpower. Xi Jinping has to be more and more open about these plans. To maintain the Communist Party at home, he's increasingly turned to religious persecution. This should concern us all. Thank you, and God bless you all.